The late summer sun stretched across the quiet neighborhood, painting the cracked sidewalks in golden light. At the end of Sycamore Street stood a modest white house with peeling paint, where Daniel Harris sat on the porch, rubbing his calloused hands together. He was 52 now, a man who had lived more for others than for himself. Daniel never had biological children, though he had always dreamed of being a father. Life had taken a different road. After years of working as a high school janitor and volunteering at the local shelter, he had chosen to adopt. Over the years, 3 children, Emma, Lewis, and Grace, came into his home. Each carried their own scars, fears, and memories of families that had let them down. Daniel had never promised them perfection. But he had promised something else: you'll never be alone again. He worked 2 jobs to keep food on the table, often patching his shoes instead of buying new ones. He missed meals so they could eat, went without sleep so they could be safe, and sacrificed every dream he once held. Now, as his birthday approached, Daniel felt a quiet ache in his chest. His car had broken down 2 months ago, leaving him walking to work each morning. He never complained, he was used to struggle, but his children noticed. And they had been planning something. The surprise. On his birthday morning, the 3 children led him outside, their faces glowing with excitement. "Close your eyes, Dad." Emma, the oldest at 22, grinned as she covered his eyes with her hands. Lewis and Grace, now teenagers, tugged him forward. Daniel chuckled, his deep laugh rumbling. "What are you 3 up to?" "Just trust us," Grace whispered. When they finally told him to open his eyes, Daniel froze. Parked in the driveway was an old, rusted car. The paint was chipped, the tires worn, the body dented from years of use. To anyone else, it looked like junk. But the children's faces told another story. "It's not much," Lewis said, almost apologetically. "We pulled our money together. Emma saved from her cafe job, Grace from babysitting, and I sold my guitar." Daniel's throat tightened. He knew how much that guitar meant to Lewis. Emma stepped closer. "It doesn't run right now. But we thought maybe you could fix it. And we wanted you to have something of your own. You've given us everything, Dad." Daniel blinked rapidly, trying to steady himself. "Kids, this is the best gift I've ever been given." He ran his hand across the faded hood, his heart swelling. The car might not shine, but it was wrapped in something no money could buy: love. The discovery. That afternoon, Daniel rolled up his sleeves and began inspecting the car. The children hovered nearby, offering tools and encouragement. As he pulled back the worn seats to clean inside, his fingers brushed against something lodged beneath the driver's seat. A leather-bound envelope, dusty, cracked with age. "Hey, what's that?" Grace asked, wide-eyed. Daniel carefully opened it. Inside were old photographs, yellowed with time. One showed a young couple standing proudly next to the very same car, their arms wrapped around each other. Another showed the couple with a baby in their arms. But it wasn't just the photos. Tucked deep inside was a folded letter, its ink faded but still legible. Daniel read aloud softly. "To whoever finds this car, know that it carried our dreams. We bought it when we had nothing, believing it would take us into a future filled with love. If you sit in this seat, know that every mile was driven with hope. If you are reading this, may this car carry you toward your own joy. Love, Henry and Margaret." The porch fell silent. Daniel felt a lump rising in his throat. It was as if fate had delivered not just a car, but a story, a legacy of love hidden within the rust. The connection. Over the next weeks, Daniel worked tirelessly on the car. Emma cleaned the interior, Grace polished the mirrors, and Lewis learned how to patch the tires. As they labored, the photographs remained on the dashboard, a reminder that every family, no matter how broken or patched together, could still carry love forward. One evening, after tightening the final bolt, Daniel sat in the driver's seat. He looked at his children gathered around, their faces glowing in the sunset. "You know," he said, voice thick, "this car isn't just metal and wheels. It's a story. A reminder that even when life breaks down, love can rebuild it. Just like us." Emma leaned her head on his shoulder. "We thought you'd understand." The climax. The car sputtered to life 2 days later. The engine coughed, shook, and then roared with triumph. The children cheered, their voices echoing down the quiet street. Daniel gripped the wheel, tears streaming. For the first time in years, he felt not the weight of sacrifice, but the gift of being seen. They piled into the car, laughter spilling out of the windows as they drove through town. Neighbors waved, curious about the old machine, but all Daniel saw was his children in the rearview mirror, smiling wider than the horizon. As they pulled up to the local diner to celebrate, Daniel whispered to himself, "I thought I was giving them everything. But it turns out, they've given me the world." The transformation. Weeks later, Daniel decided to track down the names on the letter. He searched records, spoke to old neighbors, and finally found a distant relative of Henry and Margaret. When he showed them the car, the family member gasped. This was their dream. They never had much, but they poured their hearts into it. Daniel explained how his adopted children had given it to him, how they had discovered the letter. The relative smiled through tears. Then their dream lives on. And so does yours. The heartwarming ending. Years later, that broken down car became a family treasure. Not because it was valuable or shiny, but because it carried within it two stories woven together. One of a couple who once believed in hope, and one of a father and his adopted children who proved that hope was never wasted. Whenever Daniel drove it, he felt the weight of love, past and present, guiding him. And whenever the children looked at their father, they saw not just the man who had saved them, but the man whose life they had changed with a single act of kindness. The car had been broken. So had they. But love had rebuilt everything. And that was the lesson Daniel carried with him for the rest of his days. Sparkle's family isn't about where you come from, it's about who shows up, stays, and loves you enough to turn rust into gold.